So, was I the only one that was getting vibes that Chandler and Cusack could potentially be brothers? Or maybe they're one and the same? Because it's stated within this chapter that Chandler and Cusack's main original power was sealed, or they sealed it. Now, the translation within this chapter was a little bit like, it could have been a lot better. There was a lot of messed up, weird things. I mean, if you look at the beginning of the chapter, it says, like, blackness, jetness, or whatever, or black jetness. It's a very weird translation. There's just a lot of weird, like, translations throughout this chapter. But looking past that, though, I was under the impression with everything that was happening, especially with this panel, and you see just the, how Chandler's face and Cusack's face is put side by side, it makes me believe that they're either brothers, or they are one and the same. Or they're potentially brothers to the Demon King. Think about it like that. Wouldn't that be very interesting? The reason why Cusack and Chandler are so freaking strong is actually because they are literally the brothers or the younger brothers to the Demon King, and that would explain why they're so powerful, why they're in a position like they are, why they're stronger than the Ten Commandments, why they are, taking care of Meliodas and Zeldris. It's because they're related to the Demon King, and it would make a lot of sense if they did seal their power, and the reason why they did was because if they didn't seal their power, most likely they would have to go back to purgatory or something, or stay sealed up. So they sealed up their main power for they didn't have to worry about that and be like the Demon King. That could be one of the big reasons to why they've locked away their power. But that's just the impression I got, okay? I'm not saying that's actually what's happening. I'm not saying that Chandler and Cusack are, brothers, 100% certain. I'm just saying that the way this chapter was depicted, it made me think that. Now, anyways, let's talk about power scaling for a second. So, it's been a big topic of debate for a while now. I mean, in this entire arc, it's been a very big thing. And when we think about how this fight first started, we had everybody's power level get stated. Narukaba Sensei went out of his way to state everybody's power level. Chandler's, Cusack's, he's done, the stuff with Rudisill. I mean, he has given the power levels of individuals. So we know for a fact that, Narukaba Sensei is still trying to keep power levels very relevant and keeping them, trying to keep them consistent. Now, there is some couple of explanations I can give to this chapter to the reason why, Cusack was able to fight back against Rudisill. There's actually two reasons, which I will explain. Number one, the first reason is that Chandler, he activated True Night. And as it was stated a while back, when Chandler did activate True Night against, Merlin and everybody in the past who's trying to get Meliodas and attack Elizabeth, we know that when demons are in the middle of the night, apparently they get a lot stronger. So True Night technically is a buff to all demons, so obviously Chandler and Cusack's strength would get a lot stronger and multiply compared to what it was. So it was like around 170,000, so for all we know how big this buff is, it probably put him maybe over 200,000 in terms of power level. So that buff alone does make sense. That was already previously established, so I cannot blame Nakaba Sensei there if that's where he's going, and the reason why Cusack was even able to fight Rudisill like it was nothing. The second reason is that, which was stated within this chapter, is that Rudisill's body, the host of the body, Margaret, her body can't really keep up with Rudisill's fight, and obviously it can't really output the same level of devastation that Rudisill's main body can do. So obviously it's, lagging behind, and he's not able to really do as much as he can. He's not near his max level of power, so obviously that is a big factor. Even if, let's say, his power level is 200,000, it doesn't mean that, he can probably access all that, or he could properly use it because of how his body is. So when we factor in True Night giving buffs to the demons, to Rudisill in, a body that obviously is not able to properly host him, it makes sense why Cusack is doing the devastation or this damage to Rudisill in the first place. Now, another thing, too, is, which was stated within this chapter, is that apparently they have sealed their power. So they obviously probably can get a lot stronger. It's just the reason why it was sealed is for a reason we really don't know yet, which I'm going to assume is going to be revealed very soon. And we also got to factor in, the Indra form. I think I'm saying it right. Indra forms are very important. We know that is something that Demonkind can do as well. So if push comes to shove and Chandler and Cusack really don't give a crap, they can go in Indra form and just start, wrecking house against, everybody. So there's a lot of reason how the demons can, tip the scale into their favor just because of how their abilities work, their buffs, and all of that. So anyways, let's talk about Merlin and what she did in this chapter against Chandler. So Merlin used her broken ability, Infinity. Now, we've known for a long time now that Merlin's ability, Infinity, is probably even more broken than the One mode. It's very obvious why. I mean, honestly, it's a no-brainer to really factor in why Infinity literally would be stronger than the One. Because, look, we don't really know exactly how her entire ability works. We can discuss it and all that, how she can make anything basically infinite. For instance, magic ability to instantly or infinitely go on permanently. But she also can make it to where even if it's a weak spell, if she makes it go infinitely, even the weakest spell will never stop. So obviously, it's just incredibly powerful. So yeah, I mean, Merlin's ability is pretty freaking broken. She has a lot of capabilities with it. She can do some insane things. And so, if she set, like, let's say her enchanting Infinity on, like, a spell to slowly increase its power over time, she could literally make a spell infinitely grow in power until she decides to turn it off, which is what she probably did against Chandler. When she used her Extermination Ray, and she used a weaker version, the enchanting that most likely she used on it was to probably have to where it would slowly increase in power infinitely until it overpowered Chandler and took him down. That's what I'm assuming, which once again, it makes Merlin as a very broken character. In a lot of ways, she's more broken than Escanor, and it makes a lot of sense why Nakaba Sensei's probably had so much of a hard time really having Merlin be relevant or, actually in fights often because of how strong she is. I mean, she's able to nullify commandments, which makes the original 10 commandments basically a joke. She is someone that has the magic ability of infinity, so she can, easily do these crazy things. She was able to, outsmart, the Supreme Goddess and the Demon King, so we do know that Merlin is an individual that you really cannot underestimate. And because of how broken she is, I mean, it's clear as day that Nakaba Sensei can't just throw her in every single fight, and also since Escanor holds her in high regard, it's another reason too to really notice that yes, Merlin is definitely broken if even Escanor himself, the god of the sun, the sun god and the man of pride, literally respects Merlin to such a degree that, he's willing to say like she's probably better than him. So, says a lot right there. But yeah, the point stands is that right now, Merlin, what she did, it's going to be interesting seeing her fight against Cusack and Chandler. I do believe she has the skill set to do it. I mean, she's always been this insane magic caster. We just never really got to see her full skill set since the very beginning, because like I said, Nakaba Sensei really hasn't used it. I mean, it's kind of funny to think about at the beginning when Merlin was really introduced and she had her first encounter with the 10 Commandments, when she encountered Galan and all that, and how he wrecked her. It's amusing to think that how weak he was compared to what Chandler and Cusack is, and how she's literally fighting like the two strongest demons in existence, but someone like Galan kind of gave her trouble, which is where, power scaling gets a little bit wonky. It's a little bit like, it's kind of bad. But, I mean, looking past it, though, I am excited to see my girl Merlin go in, because we really haven't had a proper fight with her. We haven't really got to see her go all in, so I am curious to see how strong she is. She also apparently has a plan for Escanor and his sacred treasure, so for all we know, most likely, if I'm assuming, she's probably going to use the sunshine that's, stored within the axe, probably to turn Escanor back into buff mode, and she's probably going to, do what she used on her Extermination Ray in this chapter and have it to where his power slowly grows, kind of like how it would be throughout the day, for he can probably access the one mode once again. That's what I'm assuming, so I believe that we're not gonna, see the end of Escanor yet. For instance, he's probably gonna get back in this fight, and he's gonna be like the main tanky dude in front of Merlin, while she's the ranged DPS, just slinging blast and stuff, like you would see in an MMORPG or just a regular RPG. But that's about it. I think the chapter overall, it's a good chapter. I think it has a lot of setup for Cusack and Chandler, and it's very obvious that Cusack really cares a lot about Zeldris. He even states to Zeldris, like, "You will surpass me," which does make me kind of curious. I mean, obviously he's a mentor to Zeldris, but the way Zeldris took that, it's very interesting. It's like he didn't expect Cusack to say that, which makes me wonder what's really going on there, if, Zeldris really comprehends who Cusack really is. But I want to end it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And for some reason, even if you do click the subscribe button, you don't always get notified. So that is the reason why I'm saying click the bell icon. And this goes for all YouTubers on the platform. So with that, I love you guys. Chibi out.